Welcome home. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. Happy holidays to everybody out there celebrating the summer. Hopefully you're getting hamburgers, hot dogs, watermelon, corn on the cob, crab cakes, crabs, whatever it is, steamed shrimp, which I'm in the mood for lately. It's a good thing because I can have all of those things. Next Friday, we're going to be down at Fadley's in the beautiful brand new Lexington Market doing the show. All of it brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery. You'll have the Gold Rush Sevens doublers to give away next Friday before the Yankees take on the Orioles. I have a feeling one will be in first place and one will be in second place. I hope it's us by then, but a whole West Coast thing ahead for all of that. Our friends at Jiffy Lube Multi-Care keeping us out on the road on the Maryland Crab Cake Tour and powering up the Maryland Oyster Tour come September, as well as our friends at Liberty Pure Solutions keeping our water crystal clear around here. We have old friends we like to catch up with here in summertime. It's been a little while. Anybody who knows me knows that I have a great affinity for the work that the folks at Goodwill of Greater Chesapeake here do. And locally, we've given boxes of stuff. I've taken pictures. We've had Lisa Rusyniak on, one of our defending champions here, many, many moons ago. She said to me, "We're building a school. It's the Excel Center. One day and it's here, and it's functioning, and it's exciting, and it's the summer, and jobs, and we don't have masks on anymore, Lisa. Here we go." And I mean, we're even free to go rock and roll. And I know you do that from time to time, as do I. How was your summer? How are things at Excel? And just, it's been a little while. Is life good?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on. Things are going great. Summer's doing also a great start. So I'll catch you up on our adult high school.
Okay, please do.
Did my camera go off?
Yes, I think it did. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Now let's
Here
go.
I
Catch
am.
me up.
Okay. All right. So as you know, we opened last September. We've had let's see, 2 terms, and we're about to do the 3rd term coming up. Now, this is an adult high school, meaning anybody over 21 who, for whatever reason, didn't get their high school diploma. Maybe they had to drop out, or they had to go to work. Whatever the reason is, they can come to our school. We apply whatever credits they have, and we'll give them credit for that. And then they are tested and put into varying classes depending on where they test out. So it's just like high school, like you remember, like English and history and social studies and science, all of that. Plus, we have a drop-in daycare center. So for the parents who have small children under 3, they can drop their child off, and we have an on-site care center. And they can come down and visit while they're in between classes or whatever, get a break. They can stay all day. These are 8-week terms. And we already have our first graduating class coming up in September. We're going to have about 13, 14 folks who will be getting their high school diploma. It's just incredible.
The folks that come to you, and just as it's new, and I'm sure you've based this on some other place, and you had numbers and you had goals and all those things we started it out. What have you learned a year into this? Or these are English first folks that probably a lot of them local, I would think, or in a general sense, that didn't make it through high school or life's tragedies or problems got in their way? Are we talking about people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s? Who's coming to you primarily right now?
I would say the average age is, late 20s, although we have 2 80-year-old
Wow.
ladies that wanted to get their high school diploma and never finished. And so it's really all over the place. And it's really for anybody who, for whatever reason, didn't get their diploma. But I guess we are pretty split right now with men and women, but about a third of our students are non-English speakers.
None,
None, right? So
zero.
English is not their native language.
Okay.
So we have classes for them. We have a few bilingual staff members that can help them get their education.
My father came here from Venezuela, and his English, he died. His English wasn't good. I mean, literally went back to Venezuela in the 80s. So, I mean, I'm very familiar with that barrier. I mean, it's an incredible barrier in our culture if you don't speak English.
Yeah. I mean, we had a lot of Spanish speaking, but about half of our English as a second language classes. We have a good portion of Nigerians, South American. It's all over the place, all over. 90% of our students though are Baltimore City residents.
Well, so these are sort of hyper local. What you wanted to build. Where is it located? Give everybody a little bit of a background because I'm familiar with sort of bricks and mortar on Redwood Street from back in the days, and you were doing a lot there in regard to, I want to say CVS and sort of the space of being cashiers, having math skills, basic skills. What is the curriculum there at this point, and where are you physically located? Because we talk so much about transportation and ease of access. You're in the primary area where most people would think is the middle of downtown, right?
Yep, we are right downtown, 222 East Redwood Street. And so we have the Excel Center on floor, like the ground floor up to the fourth floor, and then the fifth and sixth floor are for our traditional workforce development programs. So we still have the certified nursing assistant training, the pharmacy tech training, Flagger, SafeServe, all of our computer training, all that's still taking place at Redwood Street. And all of our admin offices moved out to Gateway off of 95.
Sure. Yeah, 95 South, Caton Avenue area. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Lisa Rusyniak is our guest. She runs things for our friends at Goodwill. I got my Goodwill shirt on. Last I remember, we were together down at the convention center on an annual basis. You guys do this huge a food drive and feeding folks for the holidays and in November and December. And I think everybody is familiar. Your name came up over the weekend, and it wasn't rock and roll. It was my wife. We were cleaning. It was this summer. My wife broke her ankle. We're trying to get stuff out. We're having a little holiday party for the 4th, and she has this thing for Goodwill. Hey, let's take this to Goodwill. And people know of you as a place to drop stuff off in the front or the back, depending on, and a place to shop. And we would encourage folks that thrifting is just like such a big thing these days, right?
Yeah.
But also this whole jobs training thing, Lisa, I mean, no offense, and I've been one of your spokespeople, but I bet if I reached to 100 people on the street and said Goodwill, they'd say, place I take the stuff I can't use and they do nice things with it, or the place I bought a couple of nice things in there. I found something on the cheap for $10 or whatever, but they don't know. And I know you try so hard and it's such a basis of what you do. But I think when we get together and talk sometimes, they just don't understand what mine eyes have seen in Redwood Street when you start talking about training and pharmacy tech and these jobs trainings. And I've been to your luncheons, fancy schmancy with Jane Miller, and honoring young people that were really on the fringe that you brought in and gave them a skill, and they're out really performing at a high level. And I know you've been doing this forever.
27 years.
27. All right.
27 years. Yeah. Well, I mean, Goodwills have that problem all over the country. There are 155 Goodwills across the country, if you can believe that. And we're all very independent because we are serving the needs of our specific communities. So we're focused, hyper focused on Baltimore City because that's our territory. But there are Goodwills all over the place, and they all have the same problem. We all have donors, we all have shoppers, but no one really knows our mission. And something new that I need to tell you about is that we are in partnership with Goodwill of Greater Washington and Goodwill of Delaware and Delaware counties. And we formed a separate corporation. And what we are doing is taking the glass out of the stores that doesn't sell because it's highly breakable, and we would just be taking it to a landfill. We are taking it, we're going to put it through these pulverizing machines, and it takes all the hard edges off of the glass and actually goes through a filtration system and makes sand. And we are going to be selling the sand to construction companies. We're talking to the Delaware Department of Environment about sand beach replenishment. So lots of different uses, but instead of
I'm a
taking it to
Maryland guy, and I
Louisville,
just sent
yeah,
somebody down to Bethany this weekend and to Rehoboth. So some Midwesterners. So good. Well, I'll help the Delaware folks. I'm not eating their crab cakes just yet. I'm still on the Maryland side, with the
yeah,
Maryland lottery on my crab cake. They're trying to get me across the border. But the part of the glass that's amazing is I've been places where you can clearly see there's a glass element in the asphalt, right? So but you mentioned landfill. And, my wife and I passed the one, Baltimore County, up a Warren Road, and as we go across through Cockeysville, we see the birds circling at 83 south of the mall area and the town center. Landfills is like really a big part of what you guys are doing and trying not to do, which is so much stuff is just discarded, right? And there's so many uses for things that wind up in a box, dumped off, quite frankly, at your back door with,
yep,
there's rules and regulations, but you get stuff that's sort of like, what am I going to do with this? And the landfill thing is just something that we all want to avoid that.
yeah. We're trying to keep as much as we can out of the landfill. We actually are talking to some other folks who want to buy the plastic that doesn't sell in our stores, because they are using it in the remanufacture of new goods like buckets, let me get this, Home Depot buckets. Everybody's got one of those in their garage, right?
They're
They're going to
usually
be,
orange.
yeah, everybody's going to be clamoring to buy our plastics because it can be repurposed and save Goodwill money. We spend about $500,000 just in trash. We stuff that gets donated that doesn't sell or gets broken or what have you, if you don't sell it in the store or in the outlet. So our goal is to hopefully by the end of the year, we're also talking about what we can do to keep clothing out of the landfill or keep it out of um, our salvage business, which 90% goes overseas. And depending on what country it goes to, some of the items in our bales may not be needed. And so that's why you see these pictures of National Geographic of somebody in Africa wearing a Nike shirt. How did you get a Nike shirt? And that's how, because we sell it for salvage and it gets sold overseas, but it's also, we don't do any sorting with it. So we're hoping if we can do a sortation on our premises in a centralized fashion, and then we can actually, create bales based on the climate, et cetera, then there'll be a lot more waste, less waste in the environment as a whole. And then the rest we can sell, and they make rags out of them for car detailers and that kind of stuff, old rags. So we're trying to just repurpose everything and keep everything out of the landfill. That's the ultimate goal.
Our friends at Goodwill always trying to think things through, a little bit of a strategy here. Lisa Rusyniak, how many years you been running our friends here at Goodwill at Greater Chesapeake?
Yeah, 27.
27
20,
years.
26 and a half. It'll be 27 in January. Yeah.
I remember when you brought the Excel project to me. Maybe it was plague time, maybe 19, 20, 21, and it was funding, and we talked about that. And then we
Yeah.
talked about we got it, we're going to do it. Then here we go, we're going to and now a year into having it, the most ambitious project that you've taken on in the 27 years?
Absolutely. Yeah. This was my goal. This was my dream. I was saying, I joked and I said, well, once I open my school, then I'll retire. I didn't realize that I was going to be opening one, and it all came to fruition. Now I want to open maybe 2, 3 more, because I think that, you asked me what is something I learned over the last year. It's that there's so much demand. I mean, we started out being able to serve about 150 students. We've had more than triple that in the demand. Our waiting list is over 500. So we need more schools.
In selecting people to come in, what is that process like? And I mean, you don't want to be betting on or against people, certainly at that level of just trying to get back into society and get a job, and they're, I guess, aggressive enough and interested enough to come down and want to apply. How is that the graduation part of that been the first year? I mean, it's never 100% at any point. I cover college sports, as you know, but but finding the right people to come in that are going to get the outcome that you want and need them to have for the program for it to be successful.
Yeah, but the people that we're serving want to be there, so it's not mandatory. So our attrition is very, very low. I mean, I'm going to say less than 10%. And even those who, for whatever reason, had to take a break, maybe, their parents got sick or they just had to take a break, come back. Because, and we're not strict about what the requirements are to get in. You just cannot have a high school diploma and you have to be over 21, period. We have life coaches that will help, folks if they are food insecure or they don't have a permanent place to live or they're having any kind of domestic violence issues, substance abuse. We work with all these other folks in our community that helps bridge those needs for the students while they're in our program or while they're in school. So we have people that are really cheering on these folks. They really want to become independent. They want a skill, and this may be the first time they ever achieved anything. Getting this high school diploma, it's just life changing for so many people.
I would also say that the wraparound part you talk about that, and I can't fathom at 55, and I graduated at 16, and I've moved on my way in life, but I've seen so many people, and I've lived in the city, and folks that want, or even holding a sign up. I saw the other day, I want a job. Holding a sign up saying, and what the skill level would be, especially at a time when employment was more tough than it's been lately. We have a high employment rate in the country right now. Point that out. But um, folks that do come to you, that wraparound part, whether it's I have a child, I have a sick parent, I have debt, I have physical ailment, any of those things, that's sort of part and parcel, right? There's always going to come an issue or two that come with most of these folks who don't have a diploma and want to get back into the workforce, that there's going to be something else you have to tend to aside from just trying to educate them. And I think you understand that maybe more so than their school system or anyone else could understand the adult market, that you're prepared for that. You're prepared specifically to help that adult.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that there are a lot more people that need our help that don't even know about us yet. So I expect that we'll have a very good success story to take back to the legislature next year when we have to keep our money. That we have a governor's line item for $1 million for our school. We got to keep going back and making sure it stays in there. And then, of course, we want to get more funding to open more schools. And, our capacity at Redwood Street, we can go up to 300 students. So right now we're at about 175, which is really a little bit more than we should be serving, but we're squeezing people in and, trying to make sure that we can fill every seat and get as many people in as we can.
Lisa Rusyniak is here. She is with the good folks at Goodwill Industries here. You can reach them at Goodwill Chess. That's CHES, like Chesapeake .org. And we've done a lot of work with them in the past. And I remember our fun Halloween Ravens parties. I find those old pictures when we had the 25th anniversary documentary that came out this year. We had some fun with that. And I guess more than that, the stores that we pass and the box. Actually, they're bags. They're not boxes. They're bags of old swag and things that I want to gift to you. Give everybody the framework for what we know of Goodwill. Now that we've told them about all the good stuff you do, the basics are they're stores and they're everywhere, and it's thrift. And in the era where I'm buying these crazy Pacifica belt buckles, sometimes they come into you and they wind up online, which you have a whole online component that
Mhm.
folks need to be aware of as well. But that's sort of core, and it goes without saying. And I don't know what the economy does to you, and I don't know what online does or doesn't do. And it's been a little while since we connected, maybe about a year and a half since you've been on the show. I think the economy's different, life's different right now. How the stores doing? And you have them literally. I pass them when I do the crab cake tour in all parts of the state, and I'm like, that's one of Lisa's places. That's a Goodwill place, and I'm shocked by how many communities you're in, as much as any chain would be in any community, right?
Yeah, 33 stores in the region, including the Eastern Shore. Yeah, and people don't realize every time you donate, you're helping, somebody get a job or get training because all of the proceeds from what we sell in the stores funds our mission. And that's why people don't really understand because they don't make the connection of what happens to the money that we make in the stores. And that's where it goes. It funds all of our mission programs across the state.
Well, I tell you what, I appreciate you all these years in, and I'm sending everybody out to support you guys here this summer. My wife has a So she's a box and I have a bag, but my bags might be bigger than her box. I don't know. Do you prefer bags or boxes? Boxes, right? Because we break those down and we can recycle those and reuse those, right?
And I recycle the plastic bags too. I sell them to trucks. We bale them and we sell them to trucks, and trucks uses it in their manufacturing process to make the decking material.
You don't
They
waste
melt it.
anything, do you? I mean, if I learn nothing about this, what does get wasted? What is literal? Is there what's left? Like, I need some hangers. I mean, are you a good place for me to go buy some hang? Like, I'm thinking, what happens to the core of something? The stuff my wife finds in the woods when she's walking trails and breaking her ankles.
I don't know if they could find hangers, but that's probably one of the things that we recycle metal too. I was going to say metal might go to the landfill, but no, we don't. We recycle all the metal we get too. So I don't think we're going to have much to talk about with waste in
You're not trying to waste it. I like this. This is good.
another six
That,
months.
sorry. So I guess my parting message to you would be my bag, her box. We get it there. You'll take good care of it no matter what we do, right?
We will make the most of it.
Our friends at
Yep.
Goodwill have always been in the community doing the right thing. We always appreciate some time with Lisa. Any good concerts? I can't let you out of here without. I had Greg Hawkes on the show last week, the original keyboard player from the Cars, and he put a band together on Saturday night down at Ram's Head. And I went with pretty high expectations because I love the Cars. So I was probably going to have a good time either way. It was outrageously good. I've seen some really good. Hootie and the Blowfish was great last week. They're coming back again, so it's a good summer for concerts, I think here.
Yeah, I'm going to see Yellow,
Okay.
and I'm going to see Chicago and Earth, Wind and Fire.
You have a really wide palette. That's good. That's good.
I
I mean,
do.
my
I love
wife's just
live
waiting for
music.
Lenny
Yeah.
Kravitz to get out on the road. We got Sammy Hagar going out later this summer. So Pat Benatar is next couple weeks. Please go see Pat Benatar. If you haven't seen Pat Benatar, I saw her last year. She was the best show I saw last year. So I'm really like working into this DC Hershey thing the next 2 weeks. So I know,
Wow,
I
very
know you
cool.
got a classic rocker in you. I know that about you.
I
Lisa
do.
Rusyniak is she runs all things Chesapeake, Goodwill of Chesapeake. We want to send everybody out to Goodwill CHES. If you know about it, I've been doing this for a long, long time around here. We like to support our local friends here, whether it's the retail store and donation center, and certainly the new XL Center. It's new to everybody else, but it's like I've been talking about it for a couple of years around here. It's now up and running and serving the community and graduating folks and continuing the mission that the good folks at Goodwill do. Have a great summer, Lisa. I hope you get some
Thank
good
you.
crab cakes, some crabs. Stay away from the oysters. I know you're not an oyster person. That just means more for me in September, in a month with an R. So come on out and have a crab cake on the oyster tour. How about that?
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Lisa Rusyniak, always pleasure to have her back on the program here at Baltimore Positive. So many things we're doing this summer, including the Maryland Crab Cake Tour, which we get back out on the road on the 12th of July. That's next Friday. Yankees and Orioles for first place before the All-Star break. It's all brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery. I will have the Gold Rush Sevens doublers to give away. We had a $20 winner, Coco's 2 weeks ago. Our friends at Pappas last week. It's just been a big, big month around here and a big year in our 25th anniversary. Big appreciation to Liberty Pure Solutions for putting us out on the road with clean water, as well as Jiffy Lube Multi-Care, keeping us on the road. Back on the road again. It's summertime. The Orioles are playing great out on the West Coast. Luke's got you covered with all the sports and all the baseball as we get ready for football season in a few weeks as well. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore positive.